Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Mark from Solar Games, and today let's talk about reserve list again, and potentially just one really easy way to fix reserve list. So I don't understand why Wizards so dumb they don't even know how to do this. That I have to go teach them, but let me give them a try, okay? I was having a chat with my buddy, and I was like, so reserve lists, this whole idea, this whole push for Magic 30, reprinting proxies, blah 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 blah, is so dumb because if you're going to be shady, don't be overtly shady. Don't be obviously shady. Be silent. Be actually like subtle, okay? So here's what I mean. Like Wizard being stupid and shady looks like this. Hey guys, we're going to reprint the reserve list. By that, I don't mean reprint the reserve list. I just mean reprint it in a way that we can dodge all the rules, obviously, and then do it. And then we're going to charge you fees and the costs just like if it was a real card. See, that's too obvious, right? This is what I would do. So, we have buddy lands, right? And the whole idea of the whole 30th anniversary was about like printing duels and getting more duels to the market, correct? Remember, the duels were double rare rates than the other rares. So you kind of know what they were doing, right? Having these duels now gives commander players like, oh, you have the ability to play a duel and probably your friends won't kick you out of the table because you're playing a card again in the front. It looks totally fine. There's no gold border. There's no silver border. It's a black border card, right? So in commander, we already have buddy lands. So for those who don't know, buddy lands are dual lands where basically the condition for them coming into play untapped is 2 or more players. So if you have 2 or more players, you can play this land untapped, and it's a straight up dual land, right? Now, the only difference between a buddy land and an actual dual land is this. There's a line on the land wall, okay. Other than the fact that you have to have players in the table to do this, right? 2 or more. So there's no type line for the land. It's not a type island swamp. It's not a type forest, mountain. So that's all you have to do. So this is how you do it, right? So if I was Wizard, this is what I would do. Hey guys, don't worry. Reserve list is fine. We're going to keep it fine. Everything's okay. You can go back home, go hug your cardboard, go kiss your wife and then kiss your tabernacle. You're fine. Everybody's happy. But may I introduce you to this new land? I call this the Island Swampy. What is the Island Swampy, you say? Well, hey, it's a card where you must have 2 or more opponents. But if you do, you can play this land that is both a land that is island and a swamp, comes in play untapped, and you can search for it with a fetch. Done. Right? Okay, so reserve list says you can't print this like 200, 300 cards. It says nothing about what you could print. That's the white space that's all around the reserve list, right? So why don't they just keep pushing this? In fact, why stop at buddy dual lands? How about buddy tri lands? Hey, I heard you guys like dual lands. I heard you guys like dual lands with land type riders on it. Do you remember those triomes that you love in Ikoria? How about the triomes you love in Streets of New Capenna? I know we didn't call it triomes, but hey, it's hideouts, families, lounges. We're good, right? Can I introduce you to the new buddy tri-land? The new buddy tricycle space foil lands, right? Think about it. There's so much potential in what they actually could do. Totally fine. Nobody would be mad. In fact, it doesn't violate the reserve list at all. In fact, you're not even dancing around the reserve list. You're literally saying, here's a better card. And what's the harm? I'm printing directly into internal. I'm not saying this high power tri-land is going to go into standard, modern, legacy, pioneer, whatever. Okay, legacy, sorry. Yeah, but like pioneer, whatever. Your rotating formats or whatever, those modern formats. They're not in those constructed formats. And in internal formats, you already have better cards anyway, so you don't really care, right? Or it's just not applicable. So in this case, the buddy tri-land requires 2 or more opponents, which you can't have in a 1v1. Problem solved, right? So there's so many ways they could solve this problem. Okay, how about this? Here's another way you can print around the reserve list, but not actually do the reserve list. I heard you really like this card, right? Whatever, Mox Opal, take it, Mox Emerald, right? I would love to give you a mono artifact, okay? But you may have to, for example, I don't know, exile a green card from your hand for it, type of thing, okay? If you're playing green deck, it's probably not a really hard like requirement. You exile one card, you get the whole mana rock, you're good to go, right? And then you could slowly power creep on that. Well, just discard the card. And here's the thing, in Magic, discarding a card is actually not a bad thing at all. It may be pretty good for you to discard a card, right? And maybe in the future you tuck one. Oh, you don't need to discard it, just put it into the graveyard or put it in the deck on the bottom. Shuffle it back into the deck. Maybe you can even go further. Shuffle it back in the deck, scry one, okay? Shuffle it back in the deck, draw one. You see what I'm saying? There's so many ways you can do this. And now you're creating more potentially interesting cards, potentially more useful cards, and then just power creeping a little bit here and there. Again, eternal formats only, so no one's complaining because, like it's not modifying your standard. Pioneer, those are fine. And here's the other benefit of this too. You're soft rotating legacy. You're soft rotating vintage with these more powerful than previous cards, or just give you a second option, right? Since you're basically already restricted on some of these really powerful cards, I'm printing another one. I could even out of the gate tell you it's restricted, but now you have two options of cards that kind of do similar things, but maybe have different conditions. It's not going to be called Mox Emerald. It's going to be called the, I don't know, like the artificial Mox Emerald. Whatever. Call it something else. Doesn't matter. Mox Moss, Mox Green. Like, it's insane to me that you have to touch the reserve list. Whenever you touch it, something bad happens. It's almost like they still haven't learned their lessons after 30 years. 38 years of doing this. You haven't figured this out yet. Look, here's another way to do it. If you really just want to like piss a lot of people off, put the little universe is busy up. Put an acorn symbol on the bottom, black border. Solves your problem, right? The whole point of the acorn symbol, by the way, the acorn symbol is kind of a fuck you to everybody, by the way. So if you don't understand what they're doing with that, is they're saying, well, if you can sneak the card into a game, well, and no one really complains, hey, whatever, right? Like, why do you keep them silver border? What is so bad about the silver border that you hate it, that you have to make it like less and less and less and more subtle? Dude, I would just start sneaking like weird ass overpowered cards with the acorn symbol on it. And keep doing that. And maybe one day you do a retcon, something like, oh, all acorn are now eternal legal. Something crazy like that, right? And do that like many years in the future when all the power creeps already set in. Everybody's used to it anyways. You doing this doesn't really even change any formats. Everybody's still playing the same deck. No one's going to be mad. And you can say something like, you know what? After many years of evaluating and thinking about things, you know what? We think that acorn is part of Magic. The power is pretty much there. We've already gotten to this level where Magic is this. So we can just allow it. See, the thing is this. Remember, if you're going to be like shady, don't be obvious. Be subtle. Just saying. I don't want to give too many ideas, but I'm telling you, it's going to work. Mark, Solar Games. Peace.